Gotta love technology, eh, Mike?
Gotta love it. I don't understand it yet, but gotta love it. My girls, up into the last couple of weeks, they had gotten me on most of the calls. I'm just getting used to it a little bit now. Yes.
Perfect. Perfect.
Mm.
All right, I think it looks like we're good to go. Everything's
go.
up and running. So welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I am so excited and honored to get to introduce you to our very first Camp Easter Seals virtual special guest, Pinball Clemons. So Michael Pinball Clemons is an American-Canadian sports executive and former running back and return specialist who serves as general manager for the Toronto Argonauts of the CFL, the Canadian Football League. He played with the Argos for 12 seasons, where he was a two-time All-Star and three-time Grey Cup champion, and twice served as their head coach before becoming an administrator, since winning an additional 3 more Grey Cups. His number 31 jersey is one of only 4 that have been retired by the Argos. He's one of the most famous former Argos players and is also one of the most popular professional athletes in the history of Toronto. Michael is also a motivational speaker, making frequent public appearances throughout the community, supporting a number of amazing charities and causes, including Easter Seals, Friends of We Care, and the Michael Pinball Clemons Foundation. He currently resides in Oakville, Ontario, with his wife Diane and his 3 daughters, Rachel, Raven, and Riley. So you are all going to have the chance to ask Pinball some questions. You can ask those on the live YouTube stream. But first, I'm going to turn it over to the president and CEO of Easter Seals Ontario, Kevin Collins, to ask Pinball some questions.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca. And Michael, I cannot thank you enough for being part of this today. I know all of the kids that are joining us through virtual works, and you and I are kind of the dinosaurs when it comes to this stuff, man. But you know what? We'll get there and we'll make it work. So thank you so much for being part of this.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. And I have to say a big thank you to Rebecca. So what a gracious introduction. So thank you so much for that. And tell Rebecca that she would fit perfectly in our family, because we've got all girls and they're all Rachel, Raven, and Riley, right? So if you ever need, another place to visit, just for our girls, we'll welcome her.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm going to change the K to an R so I can kind of flow in there somehow, right? So I'm going to start off with some questions if that is okay. So Michael, when did you realize that football was not going to be just a sport, but a career for you?
That's a great question. And it really just kind of happened, Kevin. So when I was smaller, it's funny, I went to play, the very first time I went to play, I was so small that they said that maybe he should wait a little bit longer. And because my mom went to register and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, he has to be 8 years old." She said, "He is 8. And it says, "Well, show us his birth certificate." So she showed the birth certificate. And of course, they said, "Well, ma'am, if he is 8 years old, can you just bring him back when he's a little bigger?" She's like, "You don't know this boy. He's got too much nervous energy. I don't care if he ever hits the field. Just give him some equipment and let him play, even if he just runs up and down the sideline," right? Well, I ended up having my jersey retired at only 11 years old. And then everybody outgrew me. And so in high school, I was 5'5" and 150 pounds. I remember the biggest guy on our team that year was a guy named Big Mo. And he was only 6 foot tall, but he was 280 pounds. He was a human rectangle, right? Big Mo always would put his arms around me. And so it was that sort of thing. So coming through high school, I was a first team all-state player in Florida, which means you're a pretty good player. And I was the best player in my county, the MVP of my area. And it usually means that you can go to one of the big schools if you're one of the best players in Florida, but I was only 5'5". But I had some pretty good choices. Harvard, Columbia, and I went to a school called William and Mary. That's the second oldest school behind Harvard. And so went to school, but going to William and Mary, more of an academic school, means that you're more focused on education than sport, right? Not a lot of professional football players or professional athletes in general come out of the College of William and Mary. Well, this was fine. I worked during the summer, got a job at Honeywell, and my whole career, it was figured out. They were gonna, after that first summer, things went so well that they were gonna pay for my MBA. And I kind of had life figured out. And then I became a college All-American, and they invited me to this thing called the Combine. And that's where all the top players go. And I told them that, hey, I got injured in the last game that I played and I really wasn't feeling great. So I'm not coming to the Combine. It's like, what do you mean you're not coming to the Combine? It's like, we're I was like, well, I already have a job. I'm not. The guy had to sit on the phone, and thankfully he was patient, and he convinced me that I should come. And I went to the Combine. I ended up being drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, and played a year in the NFL before coming here. But it was really a mistake. Professional sport was something that I really didn't realize until I actually got drafted, and then I said, I guess I should go here. So long answer, but it was really an experience that just kind of happened to me.
Yeah. And amazing that the opportunities and choices that you had, like that's so amazing, right? I mean, from an educational standpoint through your college, and then having a job with Honeywell, and then getting this almost like a third opportunity, right? It was amazing.
Well, very, very thankful for that, and having a good mom, right?
Yeah,
my mom,
no doubt.
he really was so disciplined. My dad, who I didn't grow up with, was a school teacher himself, and was a father figure to many kids who didn't have fathers. So I had my mom, though. She was the real nucleus. And so young people who are watching today, make sure that you honor mom. Always honor mom. Yeah, mom and dad's okay too, right? But make sure you always take care of mom.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So if you could offer any advice to any of the kids interested in a sports career, what would it be?
Oh, the very first thing is to enjoy it. Learn to enjoy it. Learn, we press so hard sometimes, but the more we enjoy it, the more we will do it. The more we'll be involved, the more time we will spend in it. So it really is, finding the enjoyment in the game. And we don't all like the same thing. So some of us, don't want to play the game, right? We don't necessarily like playing. We like another element of it. And there's a young man who is just extraordinary on our team. He's our director of player personnel, right? And he admittedly wasn't the best player, but in terms of a football mind, this guy's got so much information in his head. His name is John Murphy. He's my right-hand guy who I work with on a daily basis, and he is brilliant. He has a mind for the game, and he's used it in that way. And he grew up down in the States, and his dream was to be the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm the general manager of the Argos. He soon will be, because I'm going to make sure that I continue to push him into that role. And eventually, I don't know where he will be. Hope we'll keep him in Toronto as long as we can. But it is that there are so many opportunities. There are some guys we were talking to earlier today who actually every Monday we have the whole team on, and we're on a Zoom call just like this. And I was talking to a guy, was talking about one of our players who's starting his own business. And what he does is he is in the media part. So he lets the media know, and so they record these stories, and so not just about football, but about the other interests that guys have. So there are media opportunities. We have another guy that I talked to today who does the equipment. He's the equipment guy, and he's been with us longer than any other employee in the entire organization, right? So he been with us for, I want to say like 35 or 37 years or something like that. So just an amazing that, and has loved every minute of it. We have another guy I was talking with today that actually is a therapist. And so he takes care of the guy's injuries and all of those kinds of things. So there are many different opportunities. So make yourself aware, make yourself available, enjoy the game, but you also, because so many people want to work in sport, volunteer, associate yourself as soon as you can. Let people know who you are, whether you're in high school or you're in university, wherever it is, volunteer, let people know who you are. That way, when it comes time to go to the next step, right, they will already know that you're a hard worker, that you're diligent, that you love the game, and you're an asset to the organization.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, you know, you and I've worked together for a lot of years. You know, we're a friendship, but, you know, utmost respect both sides of this fence here. So, you know, children with disabilities are faced with challenges every day. What challenges did you face or overcome to reach your goals?
I have to tell you that I used to tell our guys, right, that adversity in life is guaranteed. It's not whether or not you will have adversity, but how you deal with that adversity that will determine success in life, right? So I said, you know what it means not to have adversity? It means you're dead. So adversity is one of those things that will always be with us. It doesn't matter who we are. Now, when we have a disability, there can be an additional challenge that's connected there, right? But with challenge, right, is also opportunity, right? And so I think it was actually Kobe Bryant, I think it made this quote that he said, talked about uh, something about adversity um, being something around adversity being opportunity, equating to opportunity. When I have adversity, is it that then I know I've got an opportunity. He said it as an opportunity rather than adversity itself. And so for me, I was always the little guy. I was always small. He's gonna be too small. He's a good player now, but when guys get bigger, you know, he's not going to be able to make it, and all of those things. So I had a lot of that. I also had, my mom was a single parent. You know, I mentioned that she was just an amazing role model, the whole thing, but for the first 14 years of my life, my mom was a single parent. She didn't marry until I was 14. And so there were some difficulties that were associated with that. I also was born the same year of something called desegregation. Now, our youth on the call don't know a lot about, probably haven't heard a lot of, spent a lot of time talking about desegregation. But this desegregation was when Black people weren't allowed to go to school with everyone else. I know we've had our own challenges with schooling here with Indigenous here in Canada. In the US, we had desegregation or segregation for many years. And I was born that same year. So as it started, so I didn't go to a segregated school. My school was desegregated, but there were a lot of racial tensions and a lot of things that way. And so for me, there were social issues, right? There were family issues, and there were physical issues in terms of size that I had to deal with, and those are very apparent. But they're all different other kinds of things that always come up. But the key is that we will always have adversity as long as we live, and it's really how we respond to it. This new thing I love, this new not responsibility, and it is important to have responsibility, but your respond ability. is one of the most important determinants of your success and your happiness, how you respond to things. So stuff is going to happen, right? It's not whether or not the stuff happens, but how we respond to it that ultimately will determine our success.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, yeah, bang on, bang on. So, as I said, you and I have been friends for a long time, and you've been a big part of our Easter Seals family for many, many years. What is it about Easter Seals that keeps you coming back?
The young people keep me coming back, right? They one, keep me young, but more than that, they inspire me in an unnatural way. There is a strength, um, uh, you, you know, um, with me in my life being a little guy playing a big man's game and growing up to a single parent in the projects, I've overcome a lot of stuff in my life. But every Easter Seals young person, each one of them is a champion, and each of them has overcome much more than I have in my life. And when I see the the energy, uh, the the gratitude, the love, the joy that emanates, man, I get so full, right? So I come back because I am selfish. I get more out of it than they do. So kids, I want you to know that I'm using you. So I come back because you give me so much more than I have already, and you give me more, than I'm able to give.
Yeah, it's truly appreciated, big time. So, last question that I have, and then we're going to open it up to see if we have questions from some of our viewers today. But so, can you tell us what's ahead for Toronto's favorite football team, the Toronto Argonauts?
Um, um, I I wish I could tell you more, but it looks like we will try to have a 6-game season,
Mhm.
and that's hopefully going to start in September, and um, and that could change tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah,
The most important thing for us really is to see that um, that people who are most vulnerable to this disease are being sheltered in the best possible way. That people who are on the front lines come off the front lines, right? That those who are sacrificing the most are actually taken care of, and then if we get to play football, that's great,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Uh, Here, this is not about um, football or sport or anything else like that. This really is about making sure that those who are most vulnerable and those heroes who are putting themselves in harm's way um, are as safe as we can possibly make them. And then if we get a chance to um, have a touchdown or two and a win or two, then that's gravy.
yeah, yeah. No, 100%. And again, as you commented, there are so many incredible people that are making so many amazing sacrifices to help keep everybody healthy and in safe environments. And I know that a lot of our kids and their families, they're going through some challenges, but with the great people like yourself and individuals who have stepped up and our team members, it's been an amazing thing to see how close everybody's come to help get through this collectively. It's been awesome. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to ask Rebecca if we have anybody that has any questions. Let them come forward.
All right, so we have a few questions on our YouTube stream. The first one was asked by Cindy, and she asked something that I feel like a lot of us are probably wondering, maybe a lot of us already know, but how did you get your nickname?
Oh, right. Excellent. Excellent. So Cindy, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Cindy.
I went for 24 years without a nickname. I was here 1 week, and our coach, we had a scrimmage, and I got hit, but I didn't fall down. I ran around the end and scored. Well, this is usually good, but the coach wasn't concerned about these young offensive guys. He was concerned about his defense. And so he got mad and he says, do it again, right? And so we're all the young new guys that are there. And so this time, as soon as I touched the ball, right, the defensive guy almost took the ball from the quarterback before he could give it to me. And so as soon as I touched it, he hit me, just drilled me. But I didn't fall down. I ran around the other again and I scored again. And he said, you little guy, get out of my drill. And so I never had what we call the scout team. I never had to run that again. And he made the statement to the media that we have this new guy that bounces around like a pinball. And it's
There you go.
And it just stuck. That's great. Awesome, thanks. So Casey, he didn't ask a question, but I thought this was a nice thing to share with you. He said, Pinball, I'd like to say thank you for inspiring us all and staying so positive. I was lucky enough to be at the last Conn Smythe for your very moving speech. You mean a lot.
Oh, Casey, big love, babe. Oh, ah! Thank you so much. And much of that inspiration comes from you and the rest of the team. And so we're just so proud and so proud to be involved. And so thank you so much, Casey.
Okay, so Brooklyn asked, so you answered the question about why you keep coming back to Easter Seals, but she was wondering how you first got involved with Easter Seals.
I actually, in 1990, was my second year here. And we had the Conn Smythe Awards. And actually, it might have been, it probably was in 1991, because it would have been, the season ended in the wintertime there, and then, or late in the year. And in the new year, I think I came to my first Conn Smythe awards dinner in 1990, and that's where I started. And so since then, it's been like Tim Hortons coffee. Yes, you got to get as much as you can. I'm not a coffee drinker, having said that, but yeah, my first time was 1990 for Conn Smythe, and I absolutely couldn't. I had never seen this level of inner strength exercised by grown men, and these were, kids, who were, exemplifying this superhuman strength, right, of character and physically, right. So I'm hooked.
Awesome. So Sarah has kind of a two-part thing. So the first thing she said is that she had the great honor of meeting you at one of the past Easter Seals telethons. And then she asked, at what age were you interested in sports? And if something didn't work out for you, how did you approach that?
All right, excellent. Thank you very much, Sarah. And there was another Sarah that was when we used to do Timmy and Tammy, right? There was another Sarah that was the Tammy at the time, and she a school teacher and an amazing school teacher. So still friends with her way back from 1990, I think, when we first came on. It may have been one of the years after that, but Jess, I met so many amazing people. So Rebecca, what was the question?
So Sarah asked, at what age were you interested in sports?
Yes.
And then she asked, if something didn't work out for you, how did you approach that?
All right, Sarah. So I started football at 8 years old. That was the first sport that I began, and everything's kind of seemed to start in that cycle. So I think basketball might have been 8 as well. Soccer was 9. Baseball was 9. So that 8 to 9 years old, I started most of the sports that I played. And when something didn't go my way, I pouted. No, I did. No, I did. No, I did.
Yeah.
So when something didn't go my way, I the big thing was more important, one, to keep trying. But for me, the thing that I was proudest of was that I always tried to make sure other guys felt good. So if something happened wrong, I'd go over and say, hey, don't worry about it, and so I tried to be a good teammate. And I wasn't always a good teammate, but I tried to be a good teammate. I was so competitive. I remember this one time that I had scored a couple of touchdowns already. I think it may have been 3, and I was on the way to score another touchdown, and the coach was like, "Come on out, get out of bounds, get out of bounds." And I didn't realize it. I was like, "Get out of bounds!" Like, I'm running down the field. You're supposed to score. Well, he didn't want to run the score up on the team because I had already scored 3 times, and I was off and running again. So he was telling me to get out of bounds. So I ran out of bounds, and so I didn't play anymore that game. And it was still the first half. And my mom came over to me, and she pulled me to the side, and she said, "Son, every week your players, they just cheer for you. They love you and they support you so much." And I played offense and defense and on the teams. And so I was out on the field the whole time, the whole game. And she said, "You're out there the whole time. And now when you've already done well in this game and the other guys are out there and they're playing, you're over here pouting." She said, "If you don't become the best cheerleader, right, on this field, right, you'll never play football again." And so, what that meant, Sarah, is that I was positive and happy and, told guys it was okay when everything was good with me, right? But all of a sudden, when I wasn't when I wasn't playing, when I was taken off the field and told I couldn't play, then I was pouting. The right thing to do would have been to cheer for them, right? Just as they had cheered me on for so much and for so long. And so, a little bit long-winded answer, Sarah, but that really taught me a lesson, and it's one that I remember to this day, obviously. And I've always tried my best to be a good teammate. And when I coached, I had this little thing that a team is one. And if a team is one, it means that I am you and you are me. So when I talk about you, I talk about me. So when I tear you down, I tear me down. And when I build you up, I build me up. Sarah, thanks for the help. I'm 5'6" now.
Awesome. Okay, so Leo asked, who are your favorite NFL and CFL players, and who are your favorite sports players in other sports?
Oh, right. Excellent. So my favorite player of all time is Michael Jordan. So big Michael Jordan fan. So I've enjoyed that whole little series that they did on that. So Michael Jordan is my favorite athlete of all time, just because of how hard he competes. For me, a big part of it is just doing your very best, trying as hard as you can. And some of the things, some of the Jordan stories, how he was cut from his high school basketball team, and every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, while everyone else who had made the team was asleep, he got up and started practicing. He didn't just, do that, once or twice or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. And when he was the best player in the world, he was still the first guy to get to the stadium. And he practiced, he took 100 shots, foul shots before every game. And so practiced so much though that one game during a regulation basketball game, 15,000 people in the stands, millions more watching on television. Michael Jordan bounces the ball, closes his eyes, shoots. Nothing but that. What? Phenomenal. Big Michael Jordan fan, and most of all because of how hard he competes. Sticking to basketball, admired LeBron James a little bit more because he has done so much with his platform. Another phenomenal player, but he has done so much good with his notoriety and his popularity. He's used it for good, and so a higher level of respect for him, and from that notion. My favorite football player of all time is Barry Sanders, and Barry Sanders retired before I think all of you actually got a chance to see him, but he was the razzle dazzle guy. He was in and out and everywhere, and he wasn't much taller than me. He's like 5'8" or 5'9", but he was a phenomenal player. Running back, just crazy skills. And so that's my favorite basketball player, favorite NFL guy. I'm a big Blue Jays fan, so I can't say for baseball, although it's between Robbie Alomar and Joe Carter. Both are buddies, so if I say one, then I get in trouble. So those two are a tie for me in baseball. In hockey, traditionally I've been, Wendell Clark and Dougie Gilmore are my guys that are way up there. New Sundin pretty well, but Mitch Marner is my new guy, right? So Mitch Marner, and I think a lot of people can say what they want. Mitch is my guy, right? And then in the Canadian Football League, many have come and gone. A big fan. Doug Flutie is my guy. A guy named Doug Flutie. Played with him 2 years. We won the championship both years. Incredible player, incredible vision, just amazing. So those are a list of my favorites. There are several other guys that are way up there that I really enjoy, but I'll be talking all day if we got in that too much deeper.
Great, thanks. So I just have a few more questions for you, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So Leon is wondering if you remember, maybe it's been many years, but when did you first participate in the Easter Seals telethon?
Okay, so that didn't come until I think about like 6 or 7 years later. Yeah, I think that was more in the late 90s where that happened. I think that might be right. Actually, it may even be a little bit later than that. Greg had, I think it was when Greg took over. Kevin, can you help me a little bit on that one?
Yeah, you're bang on there, Pinball. It's probably within that time frame, and Greg Manzik is who produces the telethon for us, working with Lauren. He brought you on board, and I'm going to be a little biased here, and I'm probably going to stick my neck out, and we may have, I know our friendship will never be tainted, but the fact that you're able to bring Diane with you just is amazing. And Diane is Pinball's wife, for those that didn't catch on earlier, but you know what? What a team. What an absolute dream team. So,
well, she is my dream. That's for yeah. 28 years we've been married. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I think we just have 2 more questions here. The second last one is asking, have you ever faced any racial inequality in your life?
Indeed, I have, and I think um, most every Black person has experienced some. For me, I grew up in a racialized culture down south in Florida. And so there were many, many incidences. And I, I actually wrote a poem when I was 11 or 12 years old that said, "Stand up, boy. You stand up, not sit in a chair. Hey, Blackie, I got some water. Do you want some? Or I forgot they don't drink water where you come from." Downgraded, segregated, discriminated, but others were hated because of our skin, not what's within. And so I was 11 or 12 years old when I wrote that because of something that took place, something that happened, and no need to elaborate on it. But that was very much a part of my reality growing up, on through high school and even into university and even today. Yeah, so it does happen.
Oh, thank you. Okay, and I think our last question on here, it's a two-part question. The first part is, can you pinpoint the highlight of your athletic career? And then it's asking, what about your career in management?
The career in management is really easy. That's the real easy one. That's when I won as a coach. I was the first Black head coach to win the Grey Cup, and um, the I guess that's the fancy part of the story. Um, the more important part of the story, though, it wasn't because of me. It was because of all the excellence that was around me. There's a saying: if you're the smartest guy in the room, it's your own fault. Right? It's your job to put excellence around you, and that's what we had. And I won 3 Grey Cups as a player, and it's a euphoric out of body experience. You're pouring perfectly good beverage all over one another, totally nonsensical. One victory as a coach, I won 40 times because I won for every guy on that team. It's a different sense when you're as a coach. You know all the little stories of where the guys came from and the things that they're going through, and so it's a much different. So playing more euphoric, but coaching more satisfying. There's no question about that, and so many wonderful people that went in to make that happen. And as a player, I would have to say the 1997 Grey Cup when we won back to back. The first championship we won, everything happened so fast. It was like, I came one year, got a nickname. The second year, I was the MVP of the league. The third year, we won the Grey Cup. It was like, hey, this is too easy. And then we went for 5 years and, I guess 4 seasons, and didn't get to the Cup. And a couple of those years didn't even make it to the playoffs. And it was some real hard times, some real lean years. And so it was a greater level of appreciation when we won it, but then to go back to back that's another level, right? And not only been done, a few times in history. And so that would have to be the hallmark. It's not the personal awards, it's the things you do together as a team that make the real tangible difference.
For sure. So is that all our questions, Rebecca?
That's all the questions. There's just a whole lot of comments in there with thanks and appreciation for you being with us today. And I echo that completely. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, awesome. For sure, Mike. I mean, you know how I feel about you, and for you to take the time today. I know you're incredibly busy with lots of things going on, but the impact and the importance as you described of what the kids have done for you, but what you do for the kids, and I can speak from that from a personal standpoint. Just keep being you, buddy. Like, you are who you are, and you are an amazing individual. The inspiration that you bring to everything that you do is it just flows, and it just means the world to us as an organization, both from a personal standpoint and a professional standpoint. So thank you for being you, and thank you for being part of our kids' lives.
Well, love you more. And that goes for all of the young people as well. Love you more, guys. Yes.
All right, buddy. Be safe, okay?